But again, people, take Britney out of this. This is something where it's like, all right, let's look beyond Britney Spears. Let's look at this as just how the culture is. Because the paparazzi, the way they behave, these people are fucking animals, man. They really are vultures. They're hyenas. Mm-hmm. And it's when you look at how rabid they are and how they just really just keep pushing and pushing and they will go into your home if you let them. And these people have no soul. Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. We've all laughed at Britney Spears. I'm gonna say I'm guilty. I don't expect anybody else to admit anything.
I'm guilty.
But and I gotta tell you, the reason why is because Britney Spears is such a cult of personality that there's so many things happening around her that are just kind of crazy. We've all, because there's been YouTube videos that had nothing to do with her where we laughed at those because those were kind of crazy.
Leave her alone! You're lucky she even performed for you, bastard!
Goddamn gay boys losing their mind over this chick and everything.
You freaking fricks.
Yeah. Wow, like I said, man, if this guy could only cry like this for world hunger and child abuse.
It's too hard.
Yeah, But no, I'm going to cry for this chick that can just go out on any day and get $1 million.
Wow, you're giving away my review here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, and there's things that we watched that popped up. Like if you were not a Britney Spears fan, because I love that song Toxic. It's like they killing mice and shit. Yeah. Fucking cats doing the chorus. I love that song, man. You cannot avoid Britney Spears songs. Some of them you just like because they just got beaten to your head. But then you'll be watching the show and they'll say something if you weren't a big fan and you just kind of laughed at that too because, hey, she's a celebrity and all celebrities get made fun of, right?
I'm a virgin. I'll give you my black cherry.
That's Robot Chicken right there where they made fun of her, made fun of her kids, made fun of her marriage and everything. And even at the time, like I said, not being a Britney Spears fan, I didn't know what was happening with her all the time. I did say, these people going in on her pretty hard, like, more than the usual person. I honest to God, did say that. I was like, man, but to me, it was more like, man, they are really obsessed with this girl. Little did I know, though, just how hard the media was truly going in on Britney Spears. And I looked at it and I was really kind of taken aback. I'm like, damn. I remember even saying one time, I'm like, man, why don't you leave the girl alone? I wasn't like your boy right here.
Leave her alone!
I wasn't crying and losing my mind and shit like that, but I did say, man, that's kind of crazy how they just won't leave this girl alone.
And then they wouldn't leave him alone.
And then they wouldn't leave, well, shit, he put that shit on himself out there.
He wanted the attention.
Yeah, exactly. I did not know how bad the situation was with her until we had this documentary by the New York Times that just premiered on Hulu. It's been out for about a week. And I've had some people ask us about this, and everybody's talking about it. So I figured, I like documentaries. Of course, I want to keep up with what's going on, and I definitely want to talk about what people are talking about out there. So I decided to take a look at this to see what this was like. As I said, looking at this and figuring out how hard they went on her. Look, I might not followed her. I'm not really into celebrity culture. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it did give me more sympathy for Britney Spears than I thought I would have. To what level? Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Framing Britney.
Especially for somebody capable of so much that I know firsthand she's capable of.
Why is she still in this? Why is her dad making all of her decisions?
What do we want? Free Britney!
It's easy to go in and dismiss this from the beginning as looking at something where it's just another expose on celebrity culture. Because at the beginning of this, they are focusing on a lot of fans, and you feel like you're watching a cult, and that turns me off. And it's a tricky thing for me to say because I have compassion for somebody that is mentally anguished. You know, they're a human being. I have sympathy for somebody that is having a hard time. I don't want to judge the fans, but in the beginning, you know, but the thing is with me, it's just a personal thing. I hate celebrity worship. I absolutely despise it. I think it's what, you know, it's a warped mentality itself. It's something that's gotten this country into where we are right now.
I was just going to say that. It's because it's a lot of avoidance. It's well, let me put my energy into this thing rather than the things that matter.
But this, you know, this opens up with fans and people who worked with Britney, you know, and they are obsessing over one particular thing with her. They're obsessing over the issue of conservatorship. And basically that means that other people handle someone else's finances when they seem unfit or mentally unstable to do so. And with Britney Spears, it's a situation where a lot of people have heard about her father, or maybe some others are coming in, and she has no control over her finances. She has no control over her life. And this is something that's usually reserved for older people when they start to like mentally lose it and somebody's come in and take care of their finances. But Britney Spears, who is older now but was young at the time that this was an issue, you know, this is something that has really captured people's infatuation. And, you know, that's, to me, that's where things get interesting. What led us down this road to where she seems so mentally unfit that there's this controversy about her being too unstable to handle her finances or her life, where she can, you know, she has to fight for certain things like visitation with kids and stuff like that. I tell you, this documentary, because we all know that celebrities' lives, we know that they don't lead normal lives. That's so obvious I shouldn't have to even say it. But we also see at times that takes a toll mentally on them, you know. And I would say that this is the first thing, not the first, but this is one of the things that I've seen that really drove home to me how some people, and not to make like it seem like, oh, these poor celebrities, but man, this is the first thing that I've seen that really made it look scary to me, where you've seen a person's mentality spiral out of control and they just lose it because they have no life. This is the first one to show me that in some situations, yeah, being a celebrity can be a nightmare. This is frightening how these people won't leave this girl alone. Because the thing what they show you is different stages. It's like first Britney tries to be cool with the paparazzi. She's like, look, I'll get some fame, I'll get marketing, you guys get paid, I'll do a wave or two, and we all go about our day. It's a symbiotic relationship. But these fuckers just want more and more and more. And the more you give them, the more they keep trying to take.
It goes that way all the time. And it's why Alec Baldwin is fed up and he's always getting in fights with him, because he's like, I'm over this. Please, enough already.
Yeah. And you think the thing with this is that you look at this all the time and people want to say, hey, you got more money than me. You got the life that people dream of. I don't feel sorry for you. And you have to remember that these people are still human beings, and sometimes these things are being done in a way that's out of their control. And I just looked at this and I did feel bad for her. I feel bad for anybody who's in this situation. It's not a Britney thing. It's just a human thing where it's like, Jesus Christ, man. These people, you know, she gave them pictures. She gave them a lot of a life than most people would, you know, because a lot of people right at the bat, they said, leave me the fuck alone. She tried to play the game and they drove her out of her fucking mind, man. And it really does show just how full of shit. Again, people, take Britney out of this. You know, this is something where it's like, all right, you know, let's look beyond Britney Spears. Let's look at this as just how the culture is. Because the paparazzi, the way they behave, these people are fucking animals, man. They really are vultures. They're hyenas. Mm-hmm. And it's when you look at how rabid they are and how they just really just keep pushing and pushing and they will go into your home if you let them. And these people have no soul.
As we talked about with the last movie, with the whole economics play a part in it, or girls who go from being a waitress to becoming a stripper, where once somebody's offering you this kind of money to do this thing, and you get used to it, you can't stop. And with the paparazzi, the guy that they interview, where he says like, hey, I was just here to take some pictures. I want to be a filmmaker, but the money they're offering me this is financing my lifestyle. I can't stop doing it.
It was a point where if you just snapped a picture of Britney Spears, that was a few $1,000s. Then it got more and more. The more you drove this fucking girl crazy, the more the price went up. Getting a shot like that where she's losing her mind, that's $1 million shot right there. So this is beyond Britney Spears. This is an insight on how this whole culture works and how they actually can. If somebody comes in at the wrong time and don't know how to handle this, they will drive these people crazy. And what's disgusting about it is that these paparazzi, they're so into what they're doing, they don't even realize how crazy they are.
No, because in their head, they see it as, well, at first, hey, she was into it, we were into it. Yeah. And then at some point, I don't know, she just seemed like she wasn't. It's almost like somebody who date raped a girl.
Yeah,
who says, I don't know, we were making out at first, I thought she was into it. And then once I pull off her clothes, suddenly she's not. But come on, man, I was that far. Why is she complaining now?
Well, these people like that, like, hey, I talked to her.
Yeah.
I asked her how she's doing. And some of these people are so delusional. You talked, and they got them on the interviews. I found this fascinating. They got some people on interviews. They're like, I talked to her. I mean, I tried to see if she was all right. And they're like, but you still took fucking pictures, right? Yeah. They got one guy who was so full of shit, he doesn't even realize he's incriminating himself right there on the fucking spot.
Yep.
He's talking on the spot.
Completely delusional.
And he's talking. It's just kind of like, dude, the person who's talking to them, they're good, whoever is interviewing, because they don't jump in. But they had to jump in at that moment like, do you hear yourself?
What about when she said, leave me alone?
There were times where she like, can you leave me alone for the day?
Shut the fuck up, man. Wow. Shut the fuck up.
And the question is, okay, when she said, would you leave me alone for the day, did you?
No. People, seriously, I know that black people roll their eyes at this looking at Britney Spears and thinking like, I don't want to give a fuck about Britney Spears. Britney Spears, I mean, it shows that she's a human being, but outside of Britney Spears, this happens to a lot of people, and it is really, for a short period of time, it really is an insight on just how these people they really can ruin people's lives and drive them crazy. These people that we take for granted, that we say, hey, look, they're rich, they're famous, fuck them, who cares? They're still human beings, and that's what this does. It humanizes these people who are so larger than life, to where, yes, there is the damaging angle of celebrity worship in there, but there's also the angle of, we also are desensitized to these people because they are larger than life, and we think that either we worship them so much that we think that they can handle this because they're godlike. There's still something there. Whereas I'm not saying that we should all stop and pick up the cause for Britney Spears or celebrities, but there is a human angle that is applied there that really has opened up to me watching this, and compounded with being a celebrity that's hounded by the paparazzi and being a female. The whole thing about Britney Spears for a while was her relationships with dudes, because she was supposed to be a virgin. So everybody was always asking her these personal questions. And of course, one of the biggest relationships that she had was with Justin Timberlake. Now, Justin Timberlake is not in the documentary. But they do talk a little bit about him. Justin Timberlake made that song that was talking about how he was done wrong by Britney Spears. He felt cheated on. And, but nobody went and asked Justin Timberlake, and you see it in the movie. Nobody asked him like, hey man, well, what the fuck did you probably do? Or no one even thought for a moment like, all right, well, what's her side of the story? They're like, hey man, did y'all end up fucking? Did y'all have sex? Oh, right on, man. Meanwhile, Britney Spears is held to some purity test. And again, take yourself out of this being Britney Spears. This is human lives. This is social issues like being a female. She was always held up to some purity test. Now imagine having your life hounded by people who are paparazzi, who are trying to make money off your image, and the worse your life gets, the more money they make. Compound that with people who are like, well, how come you're influencing these little girls to act dirty? How come you're influencing these little girls to be bad? Aren't you supposed to be a role model? And she's like, I never was a fucking role model. No, Diane Sawyer went in and interviewed her, and like almost was close to kind of
browbeating her.
Yeah, browbeating and berating her for not putting up like she asked her like, hey, what's going on with you and the image that these kids are getting? She's like, I'm not responsible for these kids. Well,
It's one thing not to want to be the role model anymore. It's another thing not to know that a lot of...
Bitch. She's like, really? Are you crazy?
Are you really asking me this?
Young girls are looking at this. A lot of them.
The only person I do worry about and that I want to be a good person for, I think, is my responsibility is my sister.
You know, I mean, did you see the way she looked? Britney Spears actually looked at her, and I give her more credit for it. She's like, are you fucking serious?
Right.
and let me just tell you this, she handled that way cooler than some other people would.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing to see this girl who tried to be cool and play the game for so long, who tried to actually like do what she thought was supposed to be done, and no matter what she did, they would fucking turn on her.
I've said this from the beginning. I've always said this. I've never been one for just blanket celebrity bashing. As a matter of fact, I remember when my daughters were little and my wife had taken them to Disneyland, Disney World, and she was like, "Hey, this talent scout here that said they got a good look and wants to set them up and be an agent. What do you think?" And I was like, "No, do not do that. That would be the worst thing for them." And we have friends who did it, and the kids went down a hard road. I was like, the celebrities are not treated well, because I've never been one to say like, well, you got more money than me and you're famous, so you deserve this, or you're a public figure, you deserve to have your life open like this. No, nobody does that. Just because you do a thing that makes people happy, then they have the right to own pieces of you and tell you what you should do and invade your privacy. That's psychotic.
I'll get into this a little bit. I don't think the documentary went deep enough because it became one-sided after a while. The one thing they don't touch on in the documentary, and this is somebody who say we're a Britney Spears fan, but for some reason, I know this. They were talking about her and her relationship with, forget Justin Timberlake, they went deep with her and Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, to the point where he put out sordid details about the sex that they had, because everybody wants to know, is your virginity gone? Is your virginity gone? Because you're supposed to be this image. And if your virginity is gone, we can turn on you even more, because you're supposed to put this image out there for girls.
See, that was the thing. I mean, they kind of put her in a position and go like, are you a virgin? Which they never should have asked that in the first place.
No.
So for her to say like, oh yes, I'm a virgin, it's like, okay, once you put that on the table, then the hyenas are ready to pounce.
And he put out details like, man, they didn't even touch on it. But I remember he was talking about how they had anal sex and all that. That's why you saw that Robot Chicken clip I saw a little while ago. And they're like, I'll give you my black cherry, which means anal sex. Like, they would put out information like that. And she was like, and the whole time she was just like, look, if I say I'm not a virgin, you're going to slut shame me.
Mm-hmm.
If I say I'm a virgin, you're going to try to find some angle where I'm lying.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where she was held to such a purity test that people made comments of violence about her, and people laughed it off. Like, yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, she shouldn't be behaving like a slut. Fuck her. Yeah, kill her.
It happened when Mrs. Ehrlich spoke at a domestic violence prevention conference last week.
You know, I really, if I had an opportunity to shoot Britney Spears, I think I would.
How the fuck you gonna be at a domestic violence rally and talk about I would shoot Britney Spears if I could? That was Kendall Elrich. That was the wife of, at the time, of the Maryland governor. Bitch, how the fuck you gonna say that? And it's all because I would shoot Britney Spears because she's a bad image for my little girls. Fuck you, ho. You know, it's like, really? It's like, you see shit like that, and it goes even further. I mean, the hypocrisy of some of these people. You got Matt Lauer sitting up here trying to fucking shame this girl, and he's Matt Lauer.
I know.
Matt Lauer.
Yeah. Of all people.
Yeah. Matt Lauer, the rapist.
I think I did my job, and I let her talk, and if people didn't think it went that well, I apologize.
The actual interview, he went in on her, like he pulled some. Keep in mind, this dude is a fucking sexual assaulter and he's a rapist, and he's trying to have some moral ground over Britney Spears. Fuck these people, man. This is how life works. You know, it's like you get all these people who try to, like, people who do nothing. They try to shame these people, villainize these people, and meanwhile these assholes are hiding shit all the time. It's a good documentary in the sense that it's an insight on how all this stuff works, and it makes you where at one point maybe you didn't care. It lets you look at it from a different angle. Now, the problem that I have with the documentary is that it doesn't seem, it doesn't seem like it's letting the story speak for itself. It doesn't seem non-objective. It seems like it's actually kind of at near the end, like it's taking taking a side. And again, no judgment on these people. I'm not trying to come in and talk bad about people. And if it sounds like that, then it's just me. Like I said, I hate celebrity worship. And at what point? Because these people they're worried about. What it comes down to is that these people drove her so crazy. These people, they hounded her to the point where she behaved so erratically that her father and some other people might have come in and had control over her finances. So that is a nightmare scenario right there, where you just can you imagine that being trapped in your life? Now, sure, she can go out and get $1 million at any time and whatnot, but she had no freedom, and she has no control over that money when it comes in. So these people, these fans, are worried about that, this whole Free Britney movement. But at what point is this something where it's concern for a person, and it's a conspiracy movement? A conspiracy theory movement. It's a cult, because now these people are going in looking for clues online about, oh my God, what's going on with Britney today? Oh, she looked a certain way. She said something. Her clothes are giving a hint. There's it's not as hard, but it's some near QAnon shit that's going on with this. And you start to question how normal are these people that start to actually follow her this way? At what point is this a cult with them? And I don't think the movie really addressed that. And that's where I kind of tuned out. I was like, you know what? And it's a damaging thing too when it does that. The backlash from this, I'm gonna let Martin talk, but the backlash from this is crazy, and it comes from this movement right here.
I'll say this. Like all the stuff about the nightmare of being a celebrity, none of that was new to me. I've watched this happen over and over with these celebrities. I feel bad for them, especially the ones who have mental issues. And Britney was never somebody I thought to laugh at, because I was like, yeah, I see what's going on with her. And I watch people do the same thing with the Kardashians. They're so quick to want to call them whores and slag them left and right, and everybody does it, and it's and I'm like, look, I don't watch this show, but at the end of the day, they are people. You can, if they bother you that much, it's easy enough to just ignore them. As a documentary, I found this to be disappointing, if not atrocious. It's full of speculation and conjecture, and it's one-sided to a point that's almost ridiculous. Everybody in the Free Britney movement is a millennial across the board in this thing. Yeah. And I'm just looking at the optics of it. It's like it's telling me, it's like, yeah, this is the kind of thing only millennials care about. Something with pop culture, but you won't see them get out for things that are important. They're so focused on Britney. And the thing is, they have this narrative of like, man, her father, who never cared about her, has stepped in just to have the money, and she's wanting to break free. And I'm like, yeah, you have all these talking heads who say this, but there is no talking to anybody from the other side. Because I was like, okay, you're leaving a lot of questions on the table. Like, what if she actually is mentally in a place where, no, we can't trust her with her money? Because that whole conservatorship, it's for if you are, say you have Alzheimer's and you don't know what to do with your money, but also if you're somebody who is likely to frivolously spend it all. That's another reason they appoint something like that. And yeah, if you have all the people who don't, like, everybody who's against it has a reason or an agenda. But I was like, there's the other people, like the actual father. Even the brother comes on, and he seems more level-headed, but there's not really getting into that. And the clip they show with Justin Timberlake, that's really unfortunate for him, because he's on that radio talk show, and it's toxic masculinity. He's like, yeah, man, I fucked her. And it's like, yeah, you know, he was young and dumb, and he's never been a strong personality anyway. But it would be good to get him a chance to go like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. It's just, there's just so much not there that's obvious to me. And I'm like, I can't take this seriously, because you're just pushing one thing. And by the time it's done, I was like, I want to believe what you're saying, but you haven't proved it at all.
I disagree. I think to a certain point, they did prove what they needed to prove. It went off the rails when they started to get into the people who, this whole Free Britney movement. That's when I lost it. That's when I said, I'm not behind this anymore, because where this is supposed to be something that's supposed to be non-objective journalism, it really did seem like the fucking movie might as well went to the crowd and start chanting "Free Britney" too.
Yeah.
And it did go in enough to me where it's like, all right, you are exposing enough here to make people rethink her situation if they don't know any better. But when you go to that, it's like, man, you're getting them in. Let's also look at the cultish nature of what these people are doing. And to a point where...
Do you see the irony?
No, well, I do.
Because it's like she's been driven crazy by so many people attach themselves to her, being in her life, the paparazzi, and yet there's all these people who are, in a way, doing the same thing.
I don't think that this documentary was doing that.
No, not the documentary. I'm talking about all the Free Britney people.
Oh, well, that's why I said that's why I don't like this. It's like these people are... They are a cult. Mm-hmm. And the problem with being a cult is that this whole thing, they didn't look at it that way. And you can see if they could do a follow-up, the documentary is done, but now the documentary is out there to show you how cultish this is and to show you how fucked up. Well, we don't look at celebrity culture for what it is and how it could damage people. No, we do what we go wherever we think it guides us. There's a moment here where Sarah, they're going after Sarah Silverman right now. Some of these people, they're going after people like Diane Sawyer, which I think they should say, hey, look, that was kind of fucked up back in the day. But that was back in the day. Sarah Silverman, she did a roast. She did a roast of Britney Spears back in the day. And now people want to come up and like hold her accountable for those things.
For a roast?
For a fucking roast back in the day. And listen, I think at most, what do you need? Somebody comes out and says, hey, that was a long time ago. Maybe I shouldn't say some of those things. I'm sorry. But to come up here and have this backlash where, hey, that was fucked up what you did. What about that? Say something. It's like, what do you want from her? Mm-hmm. Everybody, every fucking body, put your fucking hand down. No, even you. Everybody has said something that they regrets. Everybody has said something in a period where it's different now. I've said so many things and continue to say things. And I'll tell you right now, if you come and try to hold me accountable, I'm going to tell you, fuck you, because it's a different time. Maybe I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry. If you still try to hold me accountable, go fuck yourself. That's all you're getting out of me. You ain't going to ruin my goddamn life. But they want to come out here and ruin people's lives. Sarah Silverman right here. Sarah Silverman responds to Backlash over 2007 Britney Spears roast. That's 14 fucking years ago, y'all. And now... they want to come in and try to what do you want from her? Besides building a goddamn time machine and going back and beating the shit out of herself, what do you want from her? That's where this stuff gets harmful. And I think that the documentary did not go in and look at the harmful side of the cult of Britney. Where Martin and I stand on the difference of this, and I think he's going to give this a lower rating. He might even give this a fuck you. But I'm giving it a matinee because, like I said, I see, and I did know, and it's not like I was ignorant to it. Of course, we all know how celebrities suffer, we've all heard it, but sometimes you just don't see it firsthand like this documentary put it here. And the reason why that, something like this is probably hits you a little harder is because she's one of the bigger ones out there to be hit by this. One of the bigger personalities to go in and actually try to play the game like it should be played, like she thought it should be played, and still be torn down for it. There's a lot of celebrities that go in and know, like, hey, fuck you. Sean Penn punches people out. Mm-hmm. She thought, like, man, if I just do what they want me to do, I'll be cool. And nah, man. This is a lesson in how this culture will tear you apart. And if you don't stick up for yourself, or if you don't have the strength for it, you don't have the mentality for it, they will tear your ass apart.
Yeah, watching so much of what she went through, it sucks seeing that with the paparazzi. But like I said, the documentary, it's curated. It picks and chooses what it wants to show. Outside of whatever was the picture that the paparazzi or the media was trying to paint, there were some things in her history that would be a cause for concern, to where it's like the whole thing of somebody having a conservatorship doesn't sound so out of the box. And I was like, look, if you're going to present this like she's being held prisoner, really go into it. And if you can't get interviews from the other side, or at least show some of this, then shut up until you do. Because I cannot stand a one-sided documentary. Yeah. And I feel like that's what this is the whole time.
I agree with you on that. It's like there's a lot of stuff they could have addressed.
Yeah. And so usually, it plays to the people who already have an opinion about this, who already believe this, and they go like, yeah, see, and it only slightly touches on a few people who go, well, I guess sometimes I do wonder if maybe we're wrong. And I was like, you should wonder that more often. Like I said, being the New York Times, maybe I shouldn't, but I expect more from them. This is a low rental.
Leave her alone.
I got nothing against Britney.
Come on, you don't care.
I'm dogging these filmmakers.
She performed for you, bastard, asshole.
I'm not even a fan, and I'm on her side. But for all I know, she might need people to watch over her.
You know what? I don't think she needs people to. I think she's been driven crazy, and maybe
but she could already have issues that these things exacerbated.
Yeah, I didn't get that feeling, man. I got the feeling that she.
Oh no, of course you didn't, because they didn't show any of that.
Yeah, but I don't get that feeling anyway. I mean, I feel like this could do this. People,
and even I'm saying maybe. I'm not even committed to that's what the thing is.
I think that anybody can come from a place of normalcy and be driven out their goddamn mind. There's a small town girl who. Quickly. Then she went, one day she was performing at a mall and shopping, and the next week she had throngs of people out there, and then that's when the vultures jump in. I think, that's what I think is the lesson here. I think like it's a cautionary tale that shows you that anybody can be susceptible to this and be picked apart if you're not careful.
If I praise the documentary for one thing, it does point out the pointed misogyny that goes on. With this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And especially back then. I mean, there's so much of when they show footage from what happened back then that would not play now at all.
And the reason why it doesn't hit men as hard as women is because men are praised for the sexual conquest.
Mm-hmm.
Men are praised for being smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Men are praised for even being bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
You a bad girl. Fuck, you're a slut, you a hoe, you a bitch, and they ready to jump on your ass no matter what. That's just how it's run.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I understand.
Yeah, and as much as I don't like her music, I can admire Cardi B for being somebody who's like, hey, I'm taking control of that. Yeah, I'm all that, and it's making me money.
I love Cardi B who says, fuck you.
Yeah.
Shit, we got that same mentality, at least in that right there. Yeah, I love these new females who say, I'm going to show my ass, literally, and don't give a fuck what you think. Thoughts? Say something.
If I saw it, I guess I would say something. No, I'll say this. It sounds like maybe an examination of this cultish behavior and paparazzi, like just like a broader subject would have been better for a documentary
I
instead of just focusing on one individual.
Yeah.
I agree. Look, I may have a higher rating than him, but I agree with him 100%, man. Like, it's not enough there. It's very one-sided. You are exactly right.